Hello, everybody. Welcome to CoreData's webinar, Agile Journey for Pharmaceuticals with SAFE. Thank you very much for attending and taking the time today. We appreciate it. We do see more attendees joining in as time goes on here, so we're going to wait just a little less than 2 minutes and then we'll get started. So we'll be right back with you in a little less than 2 minutes. Thanks. All right, I think we're ready to get started here. Thanks again, everybody, for joining today. We really appreciate it. And welcome to CoreData's webinar. I'll introduce myself briefly. My name is John Mullen. I'm in sales here for CoreData. Joined a little over 2 months ago as we have a lot of exciting things here going on as an organization. I've been in the industry a little over 6 years, also from the Philadelphia area in the US. But don't worry, it won't be the salesperson doing all of the talking today. We have an excellent, great speaker with you here today conducting the webinar. He's an expert in the subject today, which is, again, the Agile Journey for Pharmaceuticals with SAFE. So we'll go through just a few housekeeping items to get everything ready to get started, and then we will proceed.
Waqas, could you please move the slide?
Yeah.
Do we have the housekeeping items?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, so just a few things for today. So first of all, don't worry too much about trying to write down everything that's on the slides for the presentation. We're recording it and we'll have it available afterwards. Also, we want to make this interactive as possible, so please feel free to ask any questions you may have in the chat. If we can answer them during the webinar or towards the end, we will, but if not, we will also follow up via email. So please feel free to do that. Yeah, please make sure that your lines are muted as well so that we can hear our guest speaker today clearly. And that's pretty much everything. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Waqas Ahmed, consultant trainer and agile project manager. He's got a lot of great experience working with top companies, and I'd like to thank him for speaking today. And yeah, please feel free to get started, and thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, John. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Welcome, everyone, for this exciting webinar. And basically, I would try my best to give you the valid information and things that needs to be incorporated in your organizations as we move on towards this journey. Basically, I would start my webinar with a very basic question. And I'm sure a lot of people who have joined over here must know that we are pretty much agile these days, and it's very much the in thing, what we call it. So the very first question that comes in our mind, why agile? Why we move towards agile? And why is it so hyped? And what is the reason that business should recognize the need to change? So basically, business is investing significant amount of time and money in transforming the way they work. But why make this investment? Why change? What problems do they have right now? When moving fast, we try to give customers what they want. It's challenging to deliver on time and maintain high quality as well. So when people is already doing their best, they cannot accomplish what they have planned for. So this can lead to frustration within the team. So there is a need for agile, and if you can see my slide, you can surely see that times are changing. Everyone is aware the world is moving faster than we ever thought. Our developing practices are having a hard time keeping pace. Previously, we could dedicate a great deal of time for development, but now customers are expecting new products in their hands faster and more frequently than ever before. Every industry from retail to software development is being disrupted by digital and technological advancements. Drones are delivering packages, 5G is processing at unthinkable speeds. 3D printing is allowing people to enter and disrupt new industries. And artificial intelligence is automating processes that we never trusted to be outside of human hands. Many years ago, basically, we thought we would be developing effortlessly by now. But the problem is that oftentimes we feel like we are on very old and slow-paced track. We are still trying to do the work with our old methods, but it's not just progressing fast enough to satisfy our customers. We need a way to compete in this new world. We need to stay on top of our industries, and this is the reason we need to be agile. So all the points mentioned in my slide are basically pretty much valid in terms of moving towards agile, and the agile movement is basically taking the strong mind. It should be carried forward, and the old ways of working should be shed. I would like to highlight some more points related to agile as well. I know this is pretty much basic, but starting from the basics would create a good ground for getting your understanding towards SAFe. So this is basically a question for everyone over here, for the participants. So in terms, if you thought about agile, so let's suppose if a company is embodying these ideals, what would it look like to you? What agility means to you in your organization? I know a lot of people try to adopt these techniques, this framework, this methodology, but do you think, are you incorporating the agile framework or agile methodology in the correct possible way? Are you doing it in a pretty much disciplined way? We are very much sure that agile means to be moved quickly and easily and be nimble. It's basically the ability to change directions intentionally and with finesse. But it requires a lot of discipline from our end, and it requires a lot of efforts to be an agile company, or more specifically, to be an agile person. The great thing about agile is its fluid movement. It promotes collaboration within teams and cross-functional teams that have everyone to deliver value. The collaborative teams deliver value together, both in their teams and with customers. Along with this, fast feedback for teams constantly measure if they are delivering value and adjust if needed. Basically, this is the ability to be nimble and fluid. So what are the features of an agile team? How a standard agile team should look like? The main traits for everyone on the cross-functional team should possess, as you can see in the 3 circles over here, the cross-functional team should possess are a desire for collaboration and continuous improvement through fast feedback. An agile team is all about communication, usually daily, teamwork, problem solving on a daily basis, technical development skills, and striving to improve the team's velocity with each iteration. The cross-functional nature, the collaboration, and the fast feedback is basically the main features or the highlighting items for an agile team. A team cannot be agile if it has not incorporated these traits into their daily standards, daily routines. So when people were following the traditional waterfall model, there was an agile manifesto back in 2001, and it was created to respond to many challenges of traditional project management, and some lighter weight and more iterative development methods were developed. Basically on the screen, you can see the Agile Manifesto. Let me put a slide here. On the left, you can see the Agile Manifesto, where they have mentioned the individuals and interactions are more important over processes and tools. Working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. So all the items mentioned on the left-hand side belongs to Agile. And all the things that have been the people have been following through are basically related to the waterfall model or the traditional software development or the project management or whatever the product they have been developing. So what does the translation means? So why there is a need to change? So basically for a working software to work or for a working software to deliver value, we need to have some items incorporated within the team, the cross-functional team. So the point number 1 says that we focus on the people doing the work and on direct communication. This direct communication is very important. Without direct communication, we have to go towards sending emails, bulk of messages to each other, and there is a time limit for every item to be completed. So the best communication style is about direct communication. So basically, the manifesto clearly states that we emphasize more on individuals and interaction over processes and tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So basically, we value items on the right, but we value the items on the left more. So basically, this is the main agenda of the Agile Manifesto, and it was developed back in 2001. So how it's like to be like shifting to Agile? Basically, studies has been conducted on projects that were shifted to Agile. It was noted that Agile projects were 3 times more successful than Agile projects, non-Agile projects basically. One of the study was conducted by Chaos, a Standish group in year 2012. Shifting to Agile basically looks pretty easy, but it isn't. In order to achieve Agile benefits, it is important to understand that Agile requires discipline. And this is the most important criteria to be an Agile. It requires constant collaboration, communication, customer feedback, and basically feedback from the stakeholders and customers, and incorporating these feedbacks into product and bringing it into the market in the form of product release. So on the screen, you can see the traditional ways of working. First, we define all the requirements up front. Let me pull my pointer here. First, we define all the requirements up front. Then we move on to do all the designs. After that, we implement everything. And finally, we do the QA to verify all the functionality. So if the organization is developing in this way, what happens if they fall behind schedule or need to make a change? What can they do? Since they have defined all the requirements and have done all the design and done some of the implementation quickly, then they need to go back to the beginning. That would take time away from verification, that is QA. And that is very important part of any software development or any kind of IT processes or anything, any product development that you are doing right now. So ultimately, quality goes down as they rush through delivery, which is bound to cause issues. So what if they work in a different way? What if in a short period of time, they build a small part of the system? It's not the full system, but it is a working element they can use to solicit feedback. In the next small period of time, they add more value. As time goes on, they continue to add value. Now, what happens if they have the exact problem as before? That is, they are behind schedule and need to make a change. Quality is not compromised over here because every iteration of the product had quality built in. Right now, what they developed is already working. And if they prioritize the work correctly, they work on the most important things first. In order to ship on time, they simply decide to develop fewer non-essential items, elements than they planned for, and they can ship it with lesser amount of functionality, but it's the functioning software. This is something that customer can use. With the essential things incorporated into it, even if it's not everything that customer wants, it has something of a value to the customer. So what are the attributes of an agile team? Agile team is basically a self-organizing, self-managing, cross-functional group of 5 to 11 people. And the size and structure of the team are optimized for communication, interaction, and the ability to deliver value. The team is cross-functional, meaning that it has all the roles and skills needed to develop and deliver increments of value. The self-organizing and cross-functional nature of the team, along with constant communication, constructive conflict, and dynamic interaction, can create a productive and more enjoyable work environment for its members. So you see, the self-organizing nature is very important, and the team size is here for a reason. If we increase the team size from more than 11 people, if you take, let's suppose if we create a team of 20, 25 people, so there is a lot of possibility of communication going on to and fro. And when there's a lot of communication, people get confused. They don't understand what's the things that needs to be implemented finally. And if you have too many stakeholders giving their ideas for any kind of product development, you are not going to get a good product quality. So this number that consists of 5 to 11 people is very important for any agile team to follow. So what are the mainstream agile frameworks? Let's discuss some mainstream agile frameworks basically that has proven themselves against time. So first of all, XP or Extreme Programming is an agile software development framework that aims to produce higher quality software and higher quality of life for the development team. It was developed by Ken Beck, and it is the most specific of the agile frameworks regarding appropriate engineering practices for software development. Kanban is another agile framework that gives you a visualized workflow so you can break down work into small pieces. Kanban helps you identify bottlenecks and waste and reduces wait time by giving you well-defined project limits. It also helps you measure and manage flow. Scrum is one of the most famous agile framework for completing complex projects. Ken Schwaber basically co-developed the Scrum framework with Jeff Sutherland in the 90s, and basically it was developed to help organizations that were struggling with complex software development projects. This is the most adopted framework in the software industry. Basically, the term is borrowed from the game rugby, where Scrum is a formation of players. The term Scrum was chosen because it emphasizes teamwork. So basically, these three are the mainstream agile frameworks. There are many of them as well. Like we can have FDD, domain-driven development, RUP as well, but these are the mainstream ones. So as mentioned in the previous slide, Scrum is one of the most popular and widely used agile framework. So I would like to expand upon some concepts here. Within this framework, there are two primary roles to fill. One role is of Scrum Master, and secondly, the role of a product owner. Scrum Master is a coach and a gatekeeper. He establishes responsibility for following the agile framework, providing guidance and education to your Scrum team, and removing impediments and distractions that keep the team from doing the work on a daily basis. The product owner of the team is basically the subject matter expert for the given project. And product owner basically keeps track of the project's stakeholders, expectations, and defines and gathers that require tools and resources that the Scrum team needs. And basically, he's the facilitator from the stakeholder side. So he is basically the only point of contact for the Scrum team, though we have some other stakeholders on the back, but he is only the point of contact so that team doesn't get confused in terms of implementation, and they should get the final verdict from the product owner. In addition to this, product owner also communicates their vision to the team. He also basically sets priorities and how the development should go on, how the stories should be prioritized, what stories should be taken into team backlog. And basically, there are different iterations or multiple iterations for software development or for a product development. So before going any kind of implementation, there is an iteration planning session that happens after every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on the size of your iteration. Normally, it's basically of 2 weeks. Some people tend to keep it to 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on the nature of how quick the feedback you want from the stakeholders. After 24 hours, you have a daily stand-up. And after daily stand-ups, basically the team goes back and do their tasks. And after completing the iteration of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, there is basically an iteration review in which the team reviews or demos what they have developed between these 2 weeks or in this iteration. And basically this is the time when the product owner comes in and with other stakeholders as well. So they can basically see what kind of mobile app or what kind of web app, what are the other stuff like an IoT app or AI-based application the team has developed right now. So this is a very important or crucial moment for the team to get the feedback, the accurate feedback from the stakeholders. If they are moving into the right direction, and this is the best time to correct their direction. After that, we have basically iteration retrospective, in which basically team discusses what they have learned during this iteration, last iteration, and how they can improve the next upcoming iterations and what kind of criterias or what kind of improvements they need to do so that they can deliver a good value for the stakeholders or the company. During this development, there are two concepts which are very important: acceptance criteria on each user story, and also the definition of done. So if each story has a good acceptance criteria mentioned, and we also have a definition of done for the developer that are working on the story or for the QA, then it means that they are moving in the right direction and they know what they needs to be developed exactly, which is mentioned by the product owner. This basically creates a value for the whole team, and this basically ensures that the team is moving in the right direction and the investment has been done correctly. Kanban basically is pretty famous in mobile industry and as well as in automobile industry as well. It's a pretty easy and straightforward framework. It basically gives you a visualized workflow so you can break down your work into small pieces. And Kanban basically helps you identify bottlenecks and reduces waste and wait time by giving you well-defined project limits, clear process policies, and helps measure and manage flow. Now let's discuss about extreme programming. I know not a lot of people know about it, how it's being done, because it's purely towards software development, but it's a good idea to understand how the XP works. Basically practice is required to implement XP. And to implement XP correctly, we need to take the project or take the development to the extreme to be able to create a successful product. It basically is a programming way of working to help build strong teams, successful products, and ultimately happy customers. One of the important factors of XP is basically pair programming. It means that all production software is developed by two people sitting at the same machine. The idea behind this practice is that two brains and four eyes are better than one brain and two eyes. To basically effectively get a continuous code review and quicker response to nagging problems that may stop one person dead in their tracks. And basically XP is also taking care of the projects where there is a lot of spiking needs to be done, like R&D based products, where you need to understand a lot of stuff in terms of research, like for example, the AI based projects. If you are implementing in, for example, artificial neural networks or convolutional neural network, so you would need more people actively participating in development so that you are not lost, because you need to have a fine balance between the research and the implementation work. So basically the teams that have used pair programming have found that it improves quality and does not actually take twice as long, because they are able to work through problems quicker and they are more focused on the task at hand. Important companies like famous companies, Ford Motor and IBM are some of the companies that uses extreme programming in some of their capacity. So let's have a comparison between, or I can say among the XP, Scrum or Kanban. So the highlighting points for XP, it deals with pair programming, and it also has automated testing, simple design. Scrum basically deals with the team backlog, accession planning. It also have some more ceremonies as compared to XP or Kanban. And it has more disciplined way of implementation or doing the things in terms of product development. Kanban is also good. It has very less workflows, don't have so many ceremonies as compared to Scrum framework, and it also have WIP limits in terms of the Kanban boards as well. But it more focuses on continuous improvement. Basically, these all of them have something in common. Basically, they all seek to deliver value to customers early and often. It basically eliminate waste and creates healthy teams. If you have to choose one method over another, you can choose the tools and practices from each, the best that best works for you. For example, a team may choose to implement iterations and the Scrum Master role from Scrum, and also implement WIP limit from Kanban to ensure consistency in their workflow. And this technique can be used and also known as Scrum Ban. To get the more understanding on Scrum Ban, you can have a look on my article, which I've written over LinkedIn. It's a mixture of how you can implement Scrum and Kanban for your team, where you need to have some kind of processes available from Scrum, and you want to benefit from the Kanban as well. And basically, it creates a good mixture of implementation, and it's basically depend on the environment you currently have and what kind of engagement you have with your developers. And basically, it's more suited towards remote teams, what I have learned in my implementations. So, scaling Agile through SAFe. Now, moving on towards our main agenda, I've given you idea on history, how the Agile movement was created, what are the mainstream frameworks available for Agile. And this basically takes us towards how we should scale our Agile teams if we have more than 5 or 10 people available in our teams and they needs to be taken care of. So basically, you now know the primary practices that Agile teams use to create exceptional products with exemplary results. They are great for teams, but the expanding digital and software revolution means our customers' challenges become more complex and thus our solution as well. So how we will gain the benefits of Agile development at scale? Can we expect every customer to sit with our XP teams? I don't think so. So do we have one Scrum Master to help the team of teams? Can one Kanban board close all the stories for all the teams at once? The answer is obviously no. We need to create new practices inspired and based in these Agile practices to apply the Agile mindset to our entire organization. So we have SAFe for the rescue. SAFe, or the Scaled Agile Framework, is how we do this. At the moment, it is the world's leading framework for scaling Agile and also gives the best practices, and it has a thought leadership. It has basically decades of experience, including those Agile practices you have just learned. It expands agility beyond teams, large solutions and portfolios, and basically hundreds of world's largest organizations with tens of thousands of practitioners are using SAFe in some sort of capacity. Basically, SAFe sustains and drives faster time to market. It basically dramatically increases productivity and quality and improves the employees' engagements. So basically, through implementation of SAFe, we focus on very important area, and that is business agility. So, but before that, let's discuss few things here. Basically, we are aware that only constant in life is change. We are living times of change. Our environment, technologies, our society are rapidly evolving. And basically, constant change is affecting people globally and has impacts on our business and our customers. So basically, business agility allows us to respond to change. Since a company that has ability to respond to change can quickly turn potential risks into opportunities and can reveal possible new solutions and way to deliver value. So in continuation to business agility, let's expand the idea a little further. Business agility requires that everyone involved in delivering solutions. Business and technology leaders, development, IT, operations, legal, marketing, finance, support, compliance, and others uses lean and agile practices to continuously deliver innovative, high-quality products and services faster than competition. So if you can see on the slide, there is a sense of danger that we should respond to, and we should adapt to the change that should create a business agility. That's basically the core or the essence of the business agility. So now let's move on towards scaled agile framework. But before that, let's pause a bit and understand what is a framework. Basically, framework helps people reason about large problem spaces and gives them a thinking tool they need to address the challenges. This is all the framework is all about. So what is the agile scale? What is the scaled agile framework is all about over here? So scaled agile framework is the leading framework for scaling agile across the enterprise. We know how a single team can be agile. SAFe outlines a way for the entire organization to be agile too. It is designed to help businesses to continuously and efficiently deliver value on a regular and predictable schedule. It provides a knowledge base of proven integrated principles and practices to support enterprise agility. On the screen, you can see the 7 core principles of Scaled Agile Framework or SAFe. I will discuss each of them in the coming slides. So basically, SAFe provides the operating system for organization to achieve business agility through these 7 core competencies of lean enterprise, team and technical agility, agile product delivery, enterprise solution delivery, lean portfolio management, organizational agility, continuous learning culture, and finally the lean agile leadership. It basically starts with team and technical agility. I will explain this in coming slides. I will highlight each of the core values mentioned over here. Basically, we know that having a strategy is not enough for any kind of organization. So for organizational agility, basically provides the tools that had portfolios to achieve strategy and change directions quickly when needed. Organizing and reorganizing around value basically builds an environment for flow of value across the enterprise and beyond solution development and helps grow lean thinking people and agile teams. Continuous learning culture drives a culture of innovation and relentless improvement till enterprises become learning organizations. Finally, a lean enterprise is built on lean agile leadership. To achieve and sustain business agility, leaders must embody, teach, and exhibit the mindsets, values, and principles that are the basis of lean and agile. Lead by example and guide everyone towards this new way of working using the implementation roadmap as a guide. Together, these 7 core competencies build the lean enterprise and make true business agility possible. To achieve business agility, organizations must develop a significant degree of expertise across the 7 core competencies shown in the image. Basically, this image was designed to be explored beginning with lean agile leadership at the bottom of the circle mentioned here, and moving clockwise towards team and technical agility and continuing clockwise through continuous learning culture. So there is a very valid point if we start lean agile leadership as a very basic or starting point for any organization, because whatever the competencies you want to instill in your resources or people, it should come down from the agile leadership. If your leaders are lean and they understand the agile in true principle, then it's much easier for the lower management or the lower resources to get the correct direction and how to proceed with implementation of things that needs to be implemented across the board. Basically, these are the 7 core values I explained before. I would highlight each of the core value in the upcoming slides. So let's explore each of them now. So let's start with team and technical agility. The team and technical agility competency basically describes the critical skills and lean agile principles and practices that high-performing agile teams and teams of agile teams uses to create high-quality solutions for their customers. So you can see here, we have an agile team that has a product owner, a scrum master, or technical team. So this is very much similar to the Scrum framework. We have an agile team, basically teams of agile teams. We have multiple teams over here. We have team one, which is an agile team of 5 to 11 members. It has their own scrum master, product owner, scrum team. This is the second team. It has their own scrum master, product owner, and the third team. So basically, these 3 teams creates a basically agile release train or ART. And basically, this comprises of around 50 to 125 members. And this is for the bigger organization, of course. And these people consist of cross-functional departments, and their iteration is called program increment iterations. In previously, for the Scrum framework, we have the iterations increment. So over here, because we are following multiple teams, we have multiple teams available who are working on the project at the same time. So this is called the program increment. So as we are building the application, the product in the agile way, where we are implementing the value on each iteration, the quality is built in because we are taking care of all the stuff in each iteration. We know how to establish a flow, how the UML diagram should be developed, how the application should be developed architecturally. We are doing peer and peer reviews. We are collectively have the ownership and standards. And we also doing the automations in terms of CI and CD. And on each story, we have a definition of done. So for the each team, we have built-in quality incorporated. So when we merge all these teams together who are working on a bigger solution simultaneously, we get a teams of agile teams in which business, product management, hardware, software, quality, compliance, all the other domains that basically makes or comprises of a software or basically helps out a software team or product team. And basically this creates an agile release train. So the concept of agile release train is basically, you can see a train which has different compartments. So think of each compartment as one Scrum team. One compartment is equivalent to one Scrum team. Second compartment, second Scrum team. Third compartment, third Scrum team. So all of these create a big agile release train. And obviously we are talking about in a bigger organizations where more than 50 or 100 people working together simultaneously in a bigger solution development. So how basically this is implemented in a correct way? Let's see in the coming slides. So the second core competency or the core value is basically agile product delivery. And it is customer-centric approach to defining, building, and releasing a continuous flow of valuable products and services to customers and users. So basically it follows Scrum practices. The PI planning event is basically equivalent to Scrum's iterations planning. The release train engineer or the art coach is basically a Scrum master. So there is an equivalency over here. But the what we call the framework is bigger as compared to Scrum. The teams are much bigger. In Scrum, we used to have teams of 5 to 7 people or 9 people. But we in the agile release train engineer basically coaches multiple teams together, like they are coaching 3 compartments of teams. That is why he's called the release train engineer. The product manager is basically the Scrum Master's product owner. If you want to equate it with the Scrum's product owner. System architect basically Scrum's technical lead, and program board basically is the one that matches the dependencies between teams, and it's help out team members or the Scrum team or the Agile release team members in implementing the value, that is in terms of prioritization, what needs to go into the specific stream of work. Demos, basically our demos are integrated solutions across teams in a system demo. And inspect and adapt, which is called I&A, is basically equivalent to Scrum's retrospective. And art basically builds continuous delivery pipeline using DevOps practices. So basically DevOps is very much aligned in terms of agile release train, because without DevOps, without continuous delivery pipeline, it's not possible to deliver value in a quick fashion. DevOps is what I call that. DevOps is basically the critical area that cannot be left behind if you are implementing SAFe. So the automation from the DevOps side is pretty much important, because it caters the release on demand cadence. And if you want to release on demand, you should have a strong CI/CD pipelines built into the system using Jenkins, Cruise Control, or whatever the tools you may like. Okay, now the enterprise solution delivery. This is one of the SAFe core values that I would be explaining here. So the enterprise solution delivery competency describes how to apply lean agile principles and practices to the specifications, development, deployment, operations, and evolution of the world's largest and most sophisticated software applications, networks, and cyber physical systems. In an enterprise, multiple teams need to work together as a team of agile teams to deliver value. In SAFe, these teams of agile teams are called agile release trains, as I mentioned before, and includes 50 to 125 people. Arts are cross-functional, including all the people needed to explore customer needs and then build and deliver solution to customers. The art uses agile product delivery practices to deliver the right value at the right time. The art basically works within a time box called program increment, which is typically 5 iterations long. So if you consider 5 iterations like 2 weeks an iteration, so it means 4 iterations or 5 iterations, like 2.5 months is equivalent to a PI session, a PI increment. There would be a PI session as well that would be taken care of before incrementing the program. So at the beginning of the PI, all teams comes together to plan their work for the PI in a PI planning event, which I was mentioning. So PI planning is facilitated by the release train engineer or RTE, who serve as the coach for the art. Product management basically provides a vision and the product backlog. The system architect provides architectural guidance, and the team works for the PI identifying what can be delivered. Then a program board is used to visualize dependencies between the teams. On every iteration, the art demos the integrated solution across all teams in a system demo. And at the end of the PI, all teams basically meet to retrospect on how to improve in an inspect and adapt event, which is called an ILA. Product managers uses customer centricity and design thinking to understand customer problems and discover solutions that are desirable, viable, and feasible, and that are also sustainable. The art builds a continuous delivery pipeline using DevOps and basically release on demand, delivering value when it's needed. And sometimes a single agile release train is not enough to deliver solution, and the enterprise solution delivery competency is needed. A solution train is used to coordinate multiple arts and suppliers to deliver large complex solutions. And management has the authority on what gets built. The solution architect over here is the architecture across arts, and a solution train engineer coaches and facilitates basically the solution train events. So now let's discuss about lean portfolio management. This is one of the core values. And lean portfolio management competency basically aligns the strategy and execution by applying lean and system thinking approaches to strategy and investment funding. Agile portfolio operates in governance. Basically, in order to align strategy and execution, lean portfolio management provides a way to create strategic themes and portfolio vision to align solution development with enterprise strategy. Lean portfolio management helps enterprise organize around the delivery of value and value streams, as well as fund these value streams to avoid the problems that are typically associated with basically project cost accounting. So what is organizational agility? As I mentioned before, this is one of the core value of SAFe and from the overall 7 core values. So basically, organizational agility provides a tool that helps portfolios to achieve strategy agility and change directions when needed. Organizing and reorganizing around value, it basically builds an environment for flow of value across enterprise and beyond solution development. And basically, it helps grow lean thinking people in agile teams. It also describes how lean thinking people and agile teams optimize their business processes, evolve strategy with clear and decisive new commitments, and quickly adapt the organization as needed to capitalize on new opportunities. So for an organization to be agile, it should have the leadership should basically provide some core values for the organization that it should follow by themselves and then trickle down to the people. So the four of the core items that can be instilled in any organization, like respect for people and culture, flow of information, the transparent flow of information, the need for innovation so that people can grow, they can think aloud, they can implement their ideas, and they can create value for the organization. And simultaneously, relentless improvement brings more value to the organization if implemented in the correct way. Continuous learning culture basically describes a set of values and practices that encourages individuals and the enterprise as a whole to continuously increase knowledge, competence, performance, and innovation. This is achieved by becoming a learning organization, committing to relentless improvement, and promoting a culture of innovation. Continuous learning culture drives a culture of innovation and relentless improvement till enterprises become learning organization. So for an organization doing continuous learning that has a constant culture of innovation, basically provides people time and space, helps them or let them do the experimentation, and when their experiment fails, they have no guilt and they have the support of the leadership. This basically derives an innovation culture. This also basically provides improvements in terms of thinking and implementing new ideas, because you are leveraging the people and giving the way to the people in implementing their ideas, and they are not basically bothered or endangered by failure. If you are allowing the people to innovate in a culture that basically allows them to bring their ideas on board, and you have a people or think tank available that can help these people implement their ideas in their spare time or whatever the time frame we are giving to them. One of the lean core value of SAFe is lean agile leadership. And basically, lean agile leadership competency describes how lean agile leaders drive and sustain organizational change by operational excellence, by empowering individuals and teams to achieve their highest potential. So the leadership should embody people towards, basically they should lead by example, if I say correctly. And this basically starts with the growth mindset. If the management of the agile leadership having a fixed mindset and they have been doing things in their old fashioned way and they don't have a desire to change, or they don't want to innovate their thinking or don't want to implement innovative ideas, then all of the processes of doing the agile or SAFe fails over here, because the leadership is hesitant to implement new ideas. So the leadership should be able to embody change and should provide people to leverage their ideas and to implement their ideas in the best possible way. And they should have the ears to understand the people. They should have empathy or emotional intelligence so that they can understand their resources better and create a more healthy culture for the whole organization. So basically, SAFe has proven to scale across a wide range of industries that basically produces a variety of products, including businesses that build computers or softwares, financial and insurance institutions, medical device manufacturing, travel companies, and companies that produce large systems such as aircraft, space, and missile systems. The SAFe framework is robust and scalable so that it works for building very small and very large systems. There is a minimum set of elements required to successfully deploy SAFe across teams of teams. That's where basically essential SAFe comes into play. Essential SAFe is basically the smallest configuration of SAFe, which is robust and scalable, and it can be implemented with the least configuration to start with for any kind of organization. But before moving on to case study, I would like to highlight once again some important roles and practices in SAFe, as they are pivotal to any successful project. So I would like to emphasize again on agile release train, and I would like to shed some light upon it. Basically, organizations that implement SAFe establish long-lived teams of agile teams that, along with other stakeholders, incrementally develop, deliver, and where applicable, operate one or more solutions that provide value to the customer. In SAFe, This team is called Agile Release Train. Then we have Release Train Engineer. This is a very critical role in SAFe. He is basically the Scrum Master of the release train, and that is why he's called the Release Train Engineer, or RTE. RTE basically ensures everything is running smoothly. They ensure business owners are continuously engaged in the value the art is producing. And at the heart of the SAFe, we have PI planning. And basically, the PI planning is basically facilitated by the RTE, and he basically includes all the members of the Agile Release Train, the technical team, the product owner, and basically facilitate the PI planning session, which is very essential to the SAFe. And I'm very pretty much sure if you are not doing PI planning session, then you are not doing SAFe. So it is at the heart of SAFe. The PI planning session is very important, which is cross-functional, in which all the team members who are delivering the value, who are delivering the product in their specific teams should meet on a regular basis, and they should plan the solution in the same harmonious way, and they should have a shared mission and vision. And everyone should be on the same page if you are implementing SAFe, because the communication is the key over here. If you are not doing the PI planning session and if you are saying that you have implemented SAFe, then it is not correct. So let's discuss the case study over here of a pharmaceutical company. This is a very famous organization, AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca is basically a British-Swedish multinational pharmaceutical and biopharmaceutical company that has headquarters in Cambridge, England. AstraZeneca has a portfolio of products for major disease areas, including cancer, cardiovascular, infection, respiratory, and inflammation. And millions of patients basically around the globe uses its innovative medicines. Recently, they have launched their COVID-19 vaccine as well. And Pakistan is one of the countries that is getting the vaccinations from them as well. So AZ team or AstraZeneca team are basically pushing the boundaries of science to make a difference through medicines for patients, their families, and society in general. AZ believes that scientific research and applying leading technologies are key to achieving cutting-edge innovation. In AZ, IT is helping to push the boundaries of science to deliver life-changing medicines by continuously improving the IT environment and working with business teams to innovate for competitive advantage. So the challenge they were facing was of scalability, and they wanted to implement agile practices across a large global chain portfolio because they have branches all across the globe in around more than 50 countries. So the basic challenge faced by AZ IT was to scale in numerous countries. Numerous hours basically spent on brainstorming and discussions, and SAFe came out to be the best suited framework that needed to be implemented at the organization-wide level. So AZ basically rolled out SAFe to tackle the larger scale problems in its portfolio, focusing on the three key areas as mentioned here. The culture change approach included creating an extensive network of agile culture leaders across the organization. Basically, they focus on executive level buy-in. The company also dedicated additional time at the end of each SAFe training course to the discussion and diagnosis of basically immediate actions to change culture. For alignment of governance, basically AZ replaced its traditional project governance framework with a new adaptive delivery framework that was easy to use and supported both Scrum and scaled agile approaches out of the box. With this change, funding and governance approval were aligned with agile ways of working and basically enabling the team to make progress quickly and basically thus benefited the agile delivery. AZ teams basically are typically made up of number of different third-party suppliers working in collaboration with AZ from a variety of sites around the world. They overcame the challenge inherent in this arrangement. The PI planning event, which I mentioned before, which is at the heart of the SAFE, was crucial to the alignment and coordination of large offshore teams. And basically, these events carried out using a mixture of on-site and video conferencing facilities, and with requirements for face-to-face planning at the launch of new ERT, which I release train. Similarly, iterations, alignment, and system demos help the teams to maintain visible synchronization throughout the increments. And finally, the results. And from results, we can clearly see the extremely successful adoption of SAFE by AZ IT team that has produced faster time to delivery up to, as you can see, 40 to 60%, reduced team sizes, and improved quality. So we can finally say that SAFE was clearly a winner in terms of implementation at AZ. After getting the understanding of SAFE and going through this case study of AZ, we can surely say that scaled agile framework for enterprise is the need of the hour. Any pharmaceutical company that needs to grow and wants to fully utilize their resources should seriously consider adopting SAFE as their practice. Thank you. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you, Waqas. Thank you for all of the great information about SAFE and Agile there. A lot of great information. Thank you everyone else for attending as well. We appreciate the participation. Again, feel free to reach out to us at consulting@coredata.com or marketing@coredata.com if you have any questions that come up that you don't have right now for the chat box. Then other than that, we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.